Welcome back to part 2 of Message from a Watchman. This segment is entitled The Guards, and we continue with part 2 after the disclaimer has been read. Thanks for returning. As I read the disclaimer, this is important, and so you will find it in each video and each presentation. The views expressed in this presentation do not reflect the views of any technological portal I use. My views do not reflect the management and or staff of YouTube, Ustream, Facebook, Talk, or any other such communication portals. Like with any information presented, you are advised to research and seek confirmation. Each of us are held accountable for our own actions and decisions. Let the presentation begin. So, we begin to look at this responsibility we have as a guard. And when I say we, believers, and so therefore one thing we should be assured of if we examine those scriptures closely that was presented in part 1, and that is we each have a role that comes with responsibility of guarding, protecting this tabernacle. So in doing so, we find ourselves each day either looking at what we should embrace or reject. In other words, we're almost like a guard at the door, at the doorway, or at the gate. Many of us don't realize when we wake up each morning, we determine what we're going to embrace or what we're going to reject. Many of us fail to realize that as children and adults, or adults and children, either way you want to look at it, the bottom line is we embrace and reject things daily, moment by moment. The question, the important question is, what are we embracing? What are we rejecting? Have we taken to heart the responsibility to study to show ourselves approved so that we can make sound decisions when it comes to whether to embrace or reject something? Have we looked at our extended family? Have we looked at whether we will embrace or reject them? Well, whether we would embrace or reject any adult, any child, as it relates to this walk, this journey, we have obligations not to allow any adult, any child, nor our extended family to get in the way with the responsibility we have as a guard to walk an upright and righteous life according to the written scriptures that have been brought alive by the Spirit of Yahushua. Even when it comes to the thing of close friends, whether we should embrace or reject that title or those individuals, how, when, why, what do we share that make us close friends? Have we treated this walk like a light switch? We can turn it on and off. Have we treated it as something that is encompassed in a box that we can take it in and out? No, as guards, we have an obligation, even amongst the so-called close friends. Are the words close friends overrated, overstated? We have an obligation. Close friends should be a brother or a sister. If it's someone that is not a believer and we're saying close friends, then we need to examine what does that mean and explore what does that mean, and does it line up with scripture? Even when it comes to believers embracing or rejecting a believer, just because they say they're a believer, what are their intentions? What are their core beliefs? We have obligations as guards to know believers everywhere. Everywhere. Even amongst assemblies. What do we embrace? What do we reject? What will we hold on to? Whether it be an individual to assembly, assembly to assembly, but as guards and believers, we must know where we stand with one another. We must know what to reject, what to embrace. There are choices, and there are transition factors. There are factors that comes across where sometimes we have to step away, come away from a camp. Or if we are in charge or the responsible administrators or elders, we must reject someone and not allow them to be into the camp if they are bringing a disruptive spirit that does not line up with the scriptures. So yes, there are choices, there are transition factors in this embrace and reject component of being a sound, responsible guard. We must be firm. We must know the importance of being consistent, because firm versus inconsistencies does not make for a good witness. So there are times to be firm in our walk and know when and where to respond. We must realize that consistency is very important. And firm as we are guided by the Spirit of Yahushua according to his written and living word. This is how we can be firm. Firm might seem painful. Firm might seem unpleasant sometimes. But there are times when the believer must stand firm and strong, a guard that's righteously following the guidance of the Spirit of Yahushua. We can do it. You can do it. I can do it. Let us realize that in that firmness comes personal roles. And as we take a look at these personal roles, as a guard, we see the role as a friend, as a co-worker. We see sometimes we're put in situations of platonic relationships, intimate relationships. But let me back up a little bit. As a friend, if I guard the righteousness of Yahushua in me, if I guard and exercise the attributes of someone that seeks to worship and obey the Most High Father, according to his words and scriptures, then as a true friend, we should share some likeness. True friends should share some likeness. Because if there's division amongst us, why are we friends? To what purpose? Yes, maybe the word friend, the friend may be overstated, overrated, or have diverse meanings. We have non-believers that will say that we're friends, so do we reject that? No, not necessarily. But what I think would be wise if we are able to define what friends are. So if we're going to call someone a friend, let's define it. Let's define it, and amongst believers, let us be consistent with our definition of what a friend is. But keep in mind, we do have a role to guard this tabernacle. Just as that friend have an obligation to guard their tabernacle, if they are indeed believers. Same with co-workers. Yes, we work with non-believers. Yes, we are amongst non-believers. People who consider themselves believers, but there's a division in our core beliefs. So how do we interact with them? We do. But as guards, we don't have to allow the environment around us in the workplace to begin to influence us and cause us to go astray. Platonic relationships. These are the ones we must be careful of, mindful of. See, no matter what label we grab, brothers and sisters, we still have an obligation to guard the righteousness. And those who we interact with, they have an obligation as well, especially if they're saying they're believers. Especially if they're saying they're believers. So in platonic relationships, let us make sure we speak in apples to apples, that we understand the parameters of such definition. The same with intimacy. Is it intimacy in spirit, intimacy in righteousness? Or are we talking intimacy in terms of physical touch, emotions, feelings? So when it comes to guarding our vessel, sometimes asking those questions to the person that we're around or involved with. What does that mean to you? What does intimacy mean to you? What does it mean to be intimate? On the issue of secrets, Scripture says there's nothing hidden that shall not be revealed. See, bottom line is this. We belong to the Most High Father, who is everywhere at all times. We as believers are His. And if our desire is to worship and obey Him, we should come to realize that even though individuals, including ourselves, sometimes will say, well, this is a secret, this is between me and the Father, one must come to realize that there is no secret between just you and the Father, because the Father reveals what's necessary to join the body together. So yeah, some people say, oh yeah, I got these secrets, I carry this secret to my grave. Sometimes the things we think are secret are not secret. Bottom line is discernment is when the Spirit of Yahushua reveals, and He reveals even things that we consider to be secret. So let us just be mindful. There is a time to speak and a time to be quiet. Would that fall under the category of secret? In some cases it may. But never think that it's so locked up that the Father will not reveal to another brother or sister if it's no more than just intercessory prayer. So often we think we can hide in a corner, or we think some of the things we done in secret we can get by. But as necessary, the Father will reveal. Our role, our personal role in public. People will always look at us and examine us. Some will be influenced by us. Some will make ridicule. But still, we must not let down our guards. We must grow in maturity and demonstrate that maturity and righteousness in public. Purpose. Many people are saying, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, if you read the scriptures at the beginning of this presentation in part 1, you would see one thing we are to do is that's to guard this tabernacle and learn all the attributes necessary for guarding it. That means growing in knowledge, studying, praying, growing in strength and the power of the might of the Spirit of Yahushua. So yes, my brothers and sisters, there are personal roles. And each role that we play, so to speak, whatever label is put before it, whether it be friends, co-workers, platonic, intimate, a role of secrecy, public display, or just demonstrating our purpose, it is a role. It's defined. We define it, and those who watch us, they define it. They examine it. And I can't stress this enough. And as we move forward, we realize in any role that we play, there's progress and growth. Or we could be victims of apathy and complacency. Are we in that situation? Have we given up? Have we lost hope? As believers, we should not be in that situation. Let us think about progress and growth as we prepare to transition into part 3. This concludes part 2 of the Guards. And stay tuned, hang in there. We have more to come. This is serious, my brothers and sisters. And yes, I believe in you, and I believe in the power of the Word of the Most High, and I believe in the functionality of the Spirit of Yahushua. So hang in there. This concludes part 2. Stay tuned for part 3.